Your long-term vision is the foundation upon which every meaningful pursuit is built. It is not a simple idea or a passing thought. It is the deep inner picture of who you are becoming. When a vision first forms, it is often fragile. It requires time, patience, and quiet cultivation. In the early stages, it is shaped not by external approval, but by reflection, experience, and personal conviction. The more time you spend understanding your vision privately, the stronger it becomes in guiding your decisions and direction. When shared too soon, a vision is vulnerable to the influence and expectations of others. People will often respond to what they see through the lens of their own fears, limitations, or lack of understanding. Even those with good intentions may unintentionally diminish what you are trying to build. They may question the practicality, the timing, or the logic behind your goals. If your vision is still developing, such feedback can cause confusion, doubt, or hesitation, leading you to reshape your dreams to fit someone else's comfort. A vision grows best when allowed to mature internally. This means sitting with it, clarifying it, and slowly aligning your actions to match it. Growth does not happen all at once. It requires consistent thought, refinement, and an honest evaluation of what truly matters to you. During this private period, your vision transitions from an idea to part of your identity. Once it becomes something you live, rather than something you simply talk about, it gains the stability to withstand outside pressure. The world often values visible progress, but the most important progress happens out of sight. Before anything becomes tangible, it exists first in the mind and the heart. You may spend months or years holding a vision that few people know about, and that is not a sign of secrecy but of stewardship. You are protecting something that needs depth before it needs exposure. A strong foundation is unseen, but it determines the height a structure can reach. Resistance will come, especially when you start pursuing something uncommon. If your vision challenges norms, it may be misunderstood. Many people have abandoned meaningful paths because they allowed premature criticism to redirect their course. When you keep your vision protected, you give yourself the ability to choose your influences carefully. You seek insight, not approval. You look for alignment, not validation. This is not about isolating yourself or ignoring valuable feedback. It is about timing. There will come a stage when your vision has gained clarity and momentum. At that point, sharing can attract the right collaborators, mentors, and supporters. The key is knowing the difference between sharing for connection and sharing for reassurance. One strengthens the vision, the other weakens it. It is also important to recognize that your vision does not need to be understood by everyone. It is possible, and often necessary, to pursue something meaningful that others cannot yet see. Some people will only understand your direction once they can observe the results. If you wait for universal understanding before you begin, you will remain still. Vision requires moving before the path is obvious. Protecting your vision requires discipline. It may feel uncomfortable not to seek confirmation from others, especially those you trust. But clarity is something developed internally. Every step you take toward your vision teaches you something new about who you are and what you are capable of. These lessons build confidence more effectively than any external encouragement. Over time, your vision becomes more than a goal. It becomes a framework that guides how you invest your time, energy, and attention. It influences the opportunities you pursue and the ones you decline. It shapes your identity, your habits, and your priorities. It becomes the quiet force that directs your growth. When your vision is ready, it will reveal itself through your actions, your achievements, and your presence. By the time others notice it, it will no longer be fragile, and it will no longer require explanation. Your hardest struggles are often the experiences that shape you in ways success never could. These challenges are rarely asked for, and yet they arrive with a purpose that is not always visible at first. When you are in the midst of difficulty, the instinct is often to look outward for reassurance, comfort, or understanding. But the most meaningful growth comes when you learn to hold your struggle quietly, allowing it to teach you rather than immediately seeking relief through external reaction. When struggles are shared too early, they can become diluted by the responses of others. People may express sympathy, but sympathy can soften the edge of the lesson. Some may offer advice, though advice is often shaped by experiences that do not match your own journey. Others may unintentionally cause you to doubt yourself by framing your struggle as something to escape, rather than something to develop strength through. The transformation that hardship offers requires internal processing, not instant interpretation. There is a difference between isolation and internal reflection. Isolation closes the world out. Reflection invites understanding in. When you sit with your struggle rather than announcing it, you give yourself the space to observe what is happening beneath the surface. You begin to see patterns, reactions, fears, and beliefs that may have gone unnoticed if you had rushed to explain your situation to others. Struggle becomes a mirror that shows you who you are when comfort is not available. Pain has a way of revealing what matters. When circumstances strip away ease and familiarity, what remains is your core. You learn what you value, what you stand for, and what you refuse to compromise. These discoveries are not loud or dramatic. They are quiet realizations that reshape identity. They create a kind of inner certainty that does not need to be spoken to be known. The more you understand your internal landscape, the less external noise can influence you. There is a strength that comes from getting through something without an audience. It teaches you that your resilience is real, not dependent on encouragement or recognition. It confirms that you can face difficulty, endure discomfort, and continue forward even when no one is watching. This kind of strength is not performative. It does not seek acknowledgement. It simply exists, steady and reliable. Struggles also reveal relationships. When you keep your challenges private, you start to see who supports you without needing to know the full details. Some people offer presence instead of interrogation, and that kind of presence is meaningful. It is easy for others to stand beside you when they fully understand your situation. It is more revealing when they stand with you even when they do not. Support that does not require explanation is support that is rooted in genuine care. There are times when hardships create a sense of internal loneliness, even when others are physically present. This loneliness is uncomfortable, but it is also clarifying. It teaches you to rely on your own judgment, your own reasoning, and your own emotional resilience. Instead of depending on external reassurance, you begin building trust in your ability to navigate life on your own terms. That trust becomes a foundation that cannot be taken away. Carrying a struggle privately does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means acknowledging your challenges with honesty, while choosing to process them in ways that strengthen rather than weaken you. There is value in journaling, in sitting with silence, in allowing emotions to move through you without needing to be translated into words for others to understand. Some of the most important breakthroughs happen when you stop explaining and start listening to yourself. Growth that comes from struggle is rarely visible while it is happening. It often feels slow, confusing, and incomplete. Only later do you realize that something within you shifted, a belief dissolved, a pattern broke, a new capacity formed. These internal changes are not easily expressed in conversation, which is why sharing the struggle too soon can interrupt the process. The transformation needs space to unfold before it can be articulated clearly. When the struggle has been carried, understood, and integrated, the story becomes something you choose to share, not something you need to share. At that point, the narrative is no longer about seeking comfort or validation. It is about expressing growth, clarity, and the understanding gained along the way. Your story becomes grounded, whole, and owned entirely by you. Your next move is the bridge between who you are now and who you are becoming. It represents momentum direction, and the quiet force of intentional progress. When you are preparing to take a step forward, that moment is delicate. It requires clarity, focus, and uninterrupted thought. Sharing your next move too soon can invite input from others that shifts your direction before you have fully committed to it yourself. Decisions made from your own alignment are stronger than those shaped by reactions or opinions. Every plan has a stage where it is still forming. This is the stage where you are evaluating, adjusting, exploring possibilities, and building certainty. When you reveal your plans prematurely, you open the door for doubt, skepticism, or unnecessary advice. Even supportive people can influence you away from what feels right, simply because they cannot fully see what you see. Your next move is something you must understand deeply before you try to explain it to someone else. There is also a psychological shift that happens when you speak your plans aloud. Talking about action can create the illusion of progress. The mind feels rewarded for announcing change even when no action has yet occurred. This can reduce the urgency and discipline required to follow through. By keeping your move private, you maintain the internal drive that fuels execution rather than spending that energy on explanation. Not everyone around you wants to see you grow. Some may feel threatened by your progress because it highlights areas in their own lives where they feel stagnant. Others may fear that your success will change the relationship they have with you. Even when this resistance is quiet or unspoken, it can show up in subtle discouragement, hesitation, or minimizing comments. Protecting your next move shields your momentum from interference rooted in insecurity or misunderstanding. Privacy also protects your confidence. Confidence does not grow from external praise, but from witnessing yourself follow through on your intentions. When you work quietly, you give yourself the chance to build proof of your own abilities. Each small accomplishment reinforces belief in your direction. This internal validation is stronger than any encouragement you could receive from others, because it is earned rather than granted. There is power in showing results instead of speaking promises. People may doubt words, but results are difficult to argue with. When you reveal your progress through action rather than announcement, the conversation changes. You no longer have to persuade, justify, or defend. The outcome speaks clearly and directly. Silence becomes a form of confidence, and achievement becomes your language. Maintaining privacy around your next move does not mean working alone. It means choosing carefully who has access to your process. Some individuals support without influencing, listen without directing, and encourage without projecting. These are the people who strengthen you rather than shape you. The smaller the circle, the clearer the path. You move with more precision when you are not managing the expectations of many. Working quietly also reduces pressure. When plans are public, every setback feels bigger, every delay feels noticeable, and every course correction feels like something that must be explained. When plans are private, you are free to adjust, refine, pause, or accelerate as needed without the weight of perception. You gain the freedom to grow at the pace that aligns with your development. Your next move is not just a step. It is a message to yourself about what you believe is possible. By keeping it close, you are acknowledging its importance. You are honoring the significance of the transition you are preparing to make. Every quiet effort, every unseen hour, every private decision contributes to the strength of the outcome. In the end, your next move becomes clear not through discussion, but through action. The more you commit quietly, the more aligned your steps become. The less you explain, the more energy you have to build. The less you seek approval, the more you trust your direction. Silence is often misunderstood. Many assume that when you choose not to speak, you are hiding something, withholding intentionally, or avoiding openness. Yet silence can be a deliberate and thoughtful act. Silence can be the space in which clarity forms. When you refrain from sharing every detail of your thoughts or plans, you give yourself room to refine them, understand them, and align them with your values before exposing them to interpretations of others. Secrecy and silence are not the same. Secrecy is rooted in fear, in the desire to prevent others from knowing something because of possible judgment or consequences. Silence, however, is rooted in intention. It is the choice to protect what is meaningful until it is strong enough to be seen and understood. Silence honors the process of becoming, while secrecy tries to avoid being seen at all. The difference is not in the absence of words, but in the purpose behind that absence. There are seasons in life where the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. When you are growing, building, healing, or changing, too much external influence can distort that process. Words invite reaction, and reaction can shift your direction. Silence allows you to remain centered, to hear your own intuition, and to observe how your thoughts evolve without needing to justify or defend them. Silence can also be a way of conserving energy. Explaining yourself takes effort. Justifying your decisions takes effort. Responding to opinions takes effort. When you speak before you are ready, you give away energy that could have been used to create momentum in the direction you are choosing. By remaining silent, you keep your energy focused inward, where it fuels progress instead of conversation. Internal decisions need time to settle. There is a phase where something is still forming, shaping, adjusting, and aligning. When you speak too early, you may commit to a version of your idea that is not yet fully developed. Silence allows flexibility. It allows you to continue evolving your understanding without being confined by your own previous words or others' expectations. Silence makes space for growth that is not rushed. Not everyone needs to know your thoughts. Sharing can sometimes come from the desire to feel seen or understood. But validation from others is temporary, and relying on it makes your direction fragile. When you learn to move without external affirmation, you develop a kind of internal stability that cannot be easily shaken. Silence cultivates self-trust. It teaches you to stand firmly in what you believe, even when it is unseen. Silence also reveals the intentions of others. When you stop explaining, some people will step closer with patience and curiosity, while others will pull away out of discomfort or disinterest. The way people respond to your silence teaches you about their relationship to your growth. Those who remain present without needing to know everything are often the ones who support you most genuinely. There is a calm strength in not reacting to every noise, question, or opinion. A person who speaks only when necessary is perceived as intentional, thoughtful, and grounded. Silence communicates confidence more effectively than words ever could. It shows that you do not feel compelled to prove yourself. Your conviction exists whether others understand it or not. Silence allows your actions to become your voice. When you choose to do more and explain less, your results become the message. People may question you in the beginning, but when the outcomes appear, the clarity becomes undeniable. Silence is the space where action prepares itself to be seen. Silence is not about withholding who you are. It is about allowing who you are to strengthen before it is revealed. Growth is often portrayed as a steady climb, supported by encouragement, motivation, or external inspiration. But real growth rarely looks like that. It is uneven, uncomfortable, and deeply personal. There are stretches where you feel isolated because others cannot see or understand what you are working toward. During these times, resilience becomes the quiet force that keeps you in motion. Resilience is not loud. It does not demand recognition. It is the internal agreement you make with yourself to continue even when progress is not visible. External validation can be encouraging, but it is not sustainable. If your progress depends on applause, praise, or acknowledgement, it becomes fragile. The moment those voices fade, momentum weakens. Internal resilience means your commitment does not shift based on who notices or approves. It means you move because you believe the movement matters, not because someone is watching. When your reason for continuing comes from within, setbacks lose their power to stop you. Resilience develops through challenge. Challenges are not proof that you are on the wrong path. They are experiences designed to strengthen your foundation. When something is hard, it forces you to expand your capacity. You learn patience when results do not come quickly. You learn discipline when motivation is absent. You learn clarity when distractions test your focus. Each challenge shapes your ability to carry more than you could before. There are times when progress feels slow, almost invisible. These are the moments when internal resilience matters most. If you measure growth only by what others can see, you will overlook the inner transformation taking place. Growth begins long before it is noticeable. The habits you are forming, the beliefs you are questioning, the patience you are practicing, these are the roots that support long-term change. Roots grow in darkness, where no one is looking. Resilience also requires self-honesty. It asks you to acknowledge your fears, insecurities, and doubts without allowing them to lead you. You do not have to pretend to be fearless. You only need to be willing to move forward while afraid. Strength is not the absence of struggle, but the choice to keep acting in spite of it. The more you face yourself honestly, the better you understand how to guide your own growth. There will be moments when the temptation to quit feels stronger than the desire to continue. In these moments, internal resilience becomes a reminder of why you started. It reconnects you to your deeper purpose, the reason beneath the surface level goals. Purpose is what fuels perseverance. When you remember the meaning behind your effort, the difficulties become part of the journey rather than obstacles to avoid. Resilience is not rigid, it is adaptable. It allows you to change your strategies without abandoning your direction. When something is not working, resilience helps you adjust rather than collapse. It teaches flexibility, patience, and intelligent persistence. You learn that growth does not require forcing outcomes. It requires staying committed while allowing the process to unfold at its natural pace. The environment you place yourself in also influences resilience. Surrounding yourself with noise, expectations, or competition can drain your strength. Resilience thrives in spaces of reflection, intentional action, and mindful pause. It grows when you are able to listen to your own needs without being overwhelmed by distractions. Protecting your mental space is part of protecting your growth. Internal resilience teaches you to value progress that is not visible. You begin to appreciate the small steps, the subtle shifts in mindset, the gaining of emotional steadiness. You learn that growth is not defined by dramatic milestones, but by the consistent movement forward, even when no one sees it. This quiet progress is often the most transformative because it alters who you are at your core. Over time, internal resilience becomes something you carry naturally. It is not something you announce, it is simply present in how you move, how you decide, and how you continue. Purposeful action carries a weight that words alone cannot match. When you choose to move rather than speak, you shift your energy from intention to execution. Many people talk about what they want to do, who they want to become, and what they hope to achieve. But talking does not create change. Action does. Action is the demonstration of belief. It is the evidence of commitment. When you act with purpose, you create a reality that does not require explanation or justification. Announcements can be tempting because they offer immediate gratification. The moment you tell others what you plan to do, you receive attention, encouragement, or acknowledgement. This can feel like progress, but it is not. It is a substitute for progress. The satisfaction gained from being seen as someone who is planning to grow can sometimes reduce the motivation to actually grow. Purposeful action avoids this trap by prioritizing movement over presentation. Purposeful action is not rushed. It is intentional, thoughtful, and grounded in clarity. Instead of acting to be noticed, you act to create alignment. This means every step is taken with understanding rather than impulse. Purposeful action involves planning, reflection, and adjustment. It requires you to evaluate what is necessary and what is merely noise. By moving with intention, you ensure that your energy is not scattered but focused. There is a difference between being busy and being purposeful. Busy people move constantly, but their effort may not lead anywhere. Purposeful people move strategically, with a clear understanding of why each action matters. They do not waste time proving their effort to others, because their effort is directed toward outcomes rather than approval. Purposeful action eliminates unnecessary distraction and allows progress to build steadily. When you act without seeking validation, you strengthen your internal confidence. Your belief in yourself becomes grounded in consistent follow-through rather than external affirmation. You begin to trust your ability to create results. Every completed task, every disciplined day, every step forward reinforces the message that you are capable of shaping your life through your decisions. Confidence that grows from action is steady and resilient. Purposeful action also invites clarity over time. As you move, you learn, you discover what works, what needs adjustment, and what direction feels most aligned. You cannot gain this understanding through thought alone. It emerges through experience. Action provides feedback that thinking cannot. Doing teaches you how to refine your vision and deepen your understanding of what you are building. There is strength in letting results speak. Results do not argue. They do not require persuasion. They do not depend on the opinions of others. When your actions produce visible outcomes, those outcomes tell the story for you. People may question your choices at first, but once the results appear, the conversation shifts. The need for explanation fades because what is real cannot be debated. Purposeful action also reduces the emotional weight of comparison. When you are focused on executing your own path, the progress of others becomes less distracting. You begin to understand that success is not about speed or visibility, but about alignment and consistency. You realize that your journey has its own timing, its own rhythm, and its own lessons. Comparison loses power when your focus is on building rather than performing. There will be periods when your progress is unseen. These are often the most important periods, because they are where discipline is established and momentum is built. Working quietly allows you to grow without pressure. It allows you to make mistakes without performance. It allows you to evolve without explanation. Purposeful action values the foundation more than the announcement, and a strong foundation makes everything that follows more stable. Over time, acting with purpose becomes a way of living. It shapes how you make decisions, how you use your time, and how you direct your energy. You stop trying to be impressive and start becoming effective. You rely less on words and more on proof. Your identity becomes tied not to what you say you will do, but to what you consistently do.